Hey, good morning. It's Dave here from Phoenix Holistic Wellness. I want to do a short video just to talk about breathwork and really what it is. And what prompted this for me was there's a lot of confusion out there. I think breathwork's become a buzzword, which is a good thing in some respects. It shows how many people are interested in it. However, it's the understanding what breathwork really is, I think, is a bit low out there, and people are doing things which are not necessarily the best for them. So I thought I'd start off and try and break this down. First of all, what is breathwork? So I wrote a definition, which, hey, I'll leave you to be a judge of it. I've put down it's the conscious use of the cadence, volume, or depth of your breath to alter the physical, mental, or spiritual state of your body. So I appreciate some feedback on that one. But, it's important with breathwork to realize that it has the ability to affect across different planes of our body. So very much the physical, very much the mental, and very much the spiritual. However, it's not one size fits all. There's many different types of breath work, and some of it may not be right for you, and we'll talk a bit around that. So I think breath work beyond that really falls into two kind of main categories. So on one side, you have breath practice, and the other side, you have what I call functional breathing. So if we talk about breath practice, that could be something that you do every day at different times, maybe in the morning, maybe in the evening. Maybe you do Wim Hof, like me, every day. Maybe you do some pranayama breathing with yoga. Maybe you do some holotropic breath work, whatever. Now, for most people, that would be, let's say, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe maximum of 2 hours per day. You'll do that breath practice, and you'll use that to, like I say, alter your mental, physical, or spiritual state, and that's fantastic. But we have to remember there's still another 22, 23 hours of the day you're not doing that. So the rest of that time, that's when people need to pay attention to what I call functional breathing. And if you focus on the functional breathing side of things, that in many cases can have a lot more effect on your overall well-being, particularly illnesses, things like that. So what's the difference between the two? Well, if you think about breath practice, that could be either nasally or through the mouth. It depends what you're doing, and there may be different things where you're doing one nostril or some mouth, some nostril. With functional breathing, that's about nasal breathing, and there's a million reasons why that. We can do another video on that in the future. But it's important to see the difference. You've got to think about, how am I breathing for the other 22 and a half hours of a day? Because if you're focusing for half an hour a day and you're doing your practice, that's great. But if the rest of the time you're not breathing well, that's where the real impact can be on your life. So examples of breath practice could be Wim Hof breathing, Tumo, holotropic breathing, pranayama in yoga. And within functional breathing, there's things like cadence breathing. There's the potato method, which I'm a huge fan of. I'm an instructor for that. And just what the wider term of breath awareness, just being aware of what your breath's doing. So I think it's important we look at the two arms of breath work and don't see that, the idea that one size fits all is crazy. So let's, for a second, talk about my breath work, what I do. So I have done Wim Hof every morning now since 2018. Apart from a few mornings here and there, I do it really kind of like, it's the most important thing I do when I wake up in the morning. And it is fantastic for me. I find after I've done it, it prepares me physically, mentally, and spiritually for the day. I use it as kind of a jump start for the day. I do some gratitude, some mini meditations. It changes kind of like, it wakes me up. If I've had a rough night's sleep, that's really useful there. And I love Wim Hof. I used it to recover from very serious surgery. And I think it's something I'll do every day for the rest of my life. But I also focus on my functional breathing through the rest of the day. And the area I focus on there is about cadence breathing. Try to make sure when I'm at rest that I'm breathing 6 times a minute, 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, all nasally, and being very much aware of how I'm breathing, because once you become aware of your breath and what it's doing, it's a real key to changing your mental state, or it'll give you a clue that what's happening that day. But the thing about Wim Hof, it isn't right for everybody. It really isn't. So let's look at what is Wim Hof ultimately. So what Wim Hof really is holotropic breath work. It's hyperventilation. So we're breathing in a ton of oxygen. We're breathing faster than we probably would do normally. We are lowering our CO2 level while we're doing that. So we're increasing our oxygen, pumping it up, pumping it up. And then we're holding our breath on the exhale. And that breath hold is extended because we've lowered our CO2 significantly during the hyperventilation. And CO2 is really our brain's alarm to breathe. So we're delaying that. And it's a beautiful feeling. You know, I love it. You get these tingles, and for me, it really gives me a sense of calm. It's fantastic. However, you know, I am not an anxious person. I don't have asthma. So if you think about somebody with anxiety or someone with asthma, what are they already doing? Well, they're already breathing probably too much. They're breathing shallow. It's likely they're breathing into their upper chest. So if that's how they're already breathing, is it a good idea to get them to breathe rapidly and hyperventilate? It's not a good idea. Maybe in the future, maybe in a year's time, maybe in 6 months' time, you can start to introduce something like that because there is a chemical change in the brain during holotropic breath work, which is truly something special, which everyone should experience in their life. But if you can't breathe very well anyway, hyperventilating is not the solution. It's likely to possibly induce anxiety. And if you're asthmatic, I think it's highly unlikely to even get through a round or two of Wim Hof. So what I'm saying here is you've got to find the right tool for you and use it in the right way. And breath work is such a varied and expansive area now that there's lots of things you can do to help me. So what I say to you is figure out what it is you think you need. If you want some help, contact us, leave a comment. Happy to help and point you in the right direction, because one thing I am 100% certain on is that whatever your health, good, bad or indifferent, wherever you're at mentally, physically or spiritually, there is an area of breath work which will make your life better. I 100% guarantee that with every single person that I've ever worked with. And I've never seen anybody who hasn't benefited from finding the right kind of breath work and integrate it into their lives. So there you go. Have a fantastic day. Breathe through your nose, and I'll talk to you soon.